Hi everybody, here we are at the top of our mitten. You should have 12 stitches. I have 13, which means I must have forgotten to do one of my decreases, so I'm not going to worry about it because it's a mitten and it's one stitch, and that'll prove to you that you don't have to be a perfectionist knitter. It does not matter. So what we're going to do now is we are going to draw our yarn through the remaining 12 stitches, and I just wanted to demonstrate that for you because I know some of you maybe have never worked in the round at all before, and that you might want to see that. So for example, I got rid of my little copper marker that was at the beginning of my round because we don't need it anymore, and we are literally just going to thread. I threaded my yarn onto a wool needle, and we are just literally going to go through the remaining stitches. I'm going to put my needles down here as I go, and what have I got going on here? Like this, just so that I can show you what you would do at the top of your mitt. And we can get rid of our other little marker and go through all of the stitches. All the way around like this. And the last two like that. Okay, so we will just draw it up into a nice little circle here, and then usually what I do after I've threaded my yarn through my stitches, just to make it really secure, I like to go through those stitches and around the loop one more time with my needle and yarn. Doesn't have to be perfect, just go around like this, and maybe over to here. Draw it nice and tight, and then you can see it's nice and tidy, and then I usually take my needle through the center hole to the inside, and from there I just weave it in just as you would on, like I say, the toe of a sock or anything like that. Usually go I go usually over maybe an inch, and you know, just of going through some loops, nothing fancy. And then sometimes if I want to just be really painstaking about it, I'll come back maybe half an inch just to make sure it's sort of an over and back. I'm not going to go anywhere, and then I would trim that up. So here we are here, ready to do, oh yeah, and here's our very awesome mitten top. The original Merville mitten pattern that I wrote had a row of plain knitting in between each decrease round at the top. You could do that if you were making mitts for a larger man's hand. This length, I find, the 20 rows and the decreasing every row at the top, is pretty awesome for a woman's hand. There again, it's an awesomely good template pattern. Like once you've made a pair and you can sort of see what they're going to do, you can tweak them as you wish for whoever you are making them for, because they're perfect in that you can do that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to tackle the thumb, which is no big deal. People tend to get scared of knitting the thumb on mittens, but there's nothing to be afraid of. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide our 10 stitches. We're going to put the 10 stitches, I should say, onto 2 needles. So let's put 5 on each one. We're just going to slide them off here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slide those guys along. Grab another needle and do 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we'll get rid of our holder. Okay, so we've got our 10 stitches back on the needles. Now on your pattern, you'll see that it'll say pick up and knit 3 stitches at the base of the thumb. So what it means is, and what we're going to do, is we're going to pick up and knit 3 stitches right in the base of the thumb here, which is sort of going to close up the little gap there. So there's a couple different ways to do it, but the easiest way, whenever it says to pick up and knit, I'll show you the way that's probably easiest for you to grasp. So you don't have to be perfect about it. You will get a couple of little holes, whichever way you do it, at the base of the thumb, which you can close up later, okay? So I think what we'll do is we'll literally pick up 3 loops, maybe one on this side, one at the middle, and one on this side, okay? So again, don't be too painstaking about it because there's no way to make it perfect at this point. I think we'll probably grab, you know what, I think we'll pick up, well, maybe just one part of the stitch here. Let's grab that one, and you know what, let's grab the other 2 as well while we're there, and then we've got all 3 there and we can start knitting. Actually, you know what, I don't want that one. I think I'll grab 1 stitch in just so that it's got a little bit more body to it. Let's go for that one. Let's go for this bar right here, and let's go for, oops, sorry, technical difficulty here. Phone falling out of its frame here. Okay, so picking up this one, and let's go for this one here. Okay, there's no right or wrong to this. We're just going to go for it. So we've got 3 stitches, and now we need to rejoin our yarn because we've got no yarn there, right? So literally we are just as if we were joining a new ball to anything. We're just going to lay our yarn over our needle with maybe a 6-inch tail hanging, and we're just going to start knitting with that new yarn. We will weave this end in later, okay? So knitting that first stitch, 1, 2, 3, those first 3 stitches I should say, and see there is a hole here, don't panic. Okay, we've got 3 stitches on this needle, 5 on the next needle, and 5 on the next needle. So we're now going to do 8 rounds of going round and round, okay, for our thumb. So let's go to our next needle here. And our next needle. That one. It's hard to knit holding you're knitting under a camera because you can't see what you're doing. Okay, so there's 1 full round done. There we go. So even though this first stitch here is where we joined our yarn, it's a little bit loose, but it doesn't matter because we're going to go back later, tighten it up, just knit it normally, knit, and I'm just going to pull on that first stitch where on the tail actually to tighten it up, and I'll pull on everything actually to tighten it up, and see what I mean about holes. Totally normal, totally there. Don't feel bad.